Hey, welcome back. This is Kim with Wonder as I Wander. This is part 3 of me playing What Remains of Edith Finch. If you watched the last video I did, we just got done over there. We were in the graveyard, kind of reliving some of the history of the Finch family and kind of a glimpse into what lies ahead in terms of family stories. So we're going to move on. So you figure we kind of dealt with, I guess, the first generation. I'm really bad about the generation thing. But I believe the first generation of Finch children. So you figure we had Molly, Barbara, Calvin, and Walter, but we have one kid left, except he's not a kid anymore. Anyways, we'll get to it. Right now we're up in that tree house thing. You remember where we saw Molly, or we were Molly, and we were trying to get the bird.
But looking back on it now...
Oh, I'm so sorry, Edith. What were you supposed to look back on?
If she told me there was going to be so much climbing...
Oh, that's her mom, I think.
I never would have come when I was 22 weeks pregnant.
So we're here on the roof now. There's the swing again. Okay, there's the ladder.
I never met Grandpa Sam, but I think he and my mom had a lot in common.
Okay. So yeah, as Edith mentioned, she's pregnant. I'm sure anytime I've looked down, you may have noticed we have a bit of a belly. So that's our pregnant belly. So at this point, we're kind of, let me see, can we tell? I believe we're kind of to the addition part of the house, like the newer additions. I mean, new to the family. I could be wrong. We're gonna go check out Sam. So that's the last generation.
They were both
Not
pretty
last
intense.
generation. The last child of that generation.
Instead of hiding from death, Sam seemed to go out of his way to meet it.
I don't remember where all the cues are. I want Edith to talk and then I can talk. Because I want to be polite.
Sam spent his life shooting photos, but Mom said he got nervous being in front of the camera. I guess we're all afraid of something.
Okay, I think she's done talking. So yeah, we see his room too is insulated or whatever. So yeah, Sam had gotten married to someone named Kay, and we don't really know much about Kay. That was... Oh, that's right, Edith mentioned him, or not mentioned him, mentioned her when we were in the bathroom. So yeah, the thing about Sam, you know, I keep going on about the other children, So you figure Molly dies when she's a little girl. Barbara dies when she's a teenager. Calvin dies when he's, I guess, a little kid. He's 11. And then we have Walter. Like, you had Calvin, who really didn't get to live much of a life. Like, he wasn't fearful like Walter was. You know, Calvin was very bold and just kind of defiant about fate or death or whatnot, where Walter reacted so much more differently, where he hid from death, which I get, and honestly I'm more of a Walter in that case. And then we have Sam, and Sam got to have the most life out of anybody. He got to grow up, and he had a family, and he had this amazing career as a war photographer. So he's very interesting. So yeah, that should be... I have to remember. That's Gus, little punk. That's Kay, that's Sam, that's Gregory. And that should be Dawn, Edith's mom. And that's a deer, if you can tell. We're not going there yet. And some different metals. I'm sorry, I'm really taking too long just to get to it. Let's get to it.
Dawn, I promise, you'll never forget this weekend.
Yes, sir.
These memories are gonna last a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Am I gonna have to shoot anything?
It's a hunting trip, Dawn. Shooting is strongly encouraged. Perfect.
It's gonna rain the whole weekend, isn't it? I will never forget this weekend, Dad.
That's the spirit.
So you see we're at Odin Finch Memorial Park. So they get a whole park named after Odin.
Okay, got it.
I'm gonna take some pictures, okay?
Just be careful. That camera's older than you are.
I always thought this music was nice. So yeah, Dawn and Sam are on a
You're right, Dad. It's starting to clear up. Still freezing, though.
little outdoors trip.
Definitely should not have drunk all that coffee.
No, that's right.
Hold still while I take...
Hey!
That's a keeper.
I guess.
I'm just saying, I'm not always gonna be here, Dawn. You'll need to remember this stuff, if you want to survive.
I'll be fine, Dad.
You know who else thought he was gonna be fine?
Some guy who died.
Dawn, I'm being serious.
I know, Dad. You're always serious. Doesn't being out here make you want to chill out?
Well, to tell you the truth, I haven't been out here in 20 years. Last time I was with my brother Calvin. Man, that was a great trip. Your grandpa Sven taught us how to fish, how to build a fire. We found an old logging trail. There were deer everywhere. I bet if I could remember where that trail was, we'd spot a buck for you in no time. Give me a minute to check the map.
Now see, I feel bad. I have this real bad habit with, like, the first few times I play a game, I kind of go through it too quickly.
Let's see.
So I didn't realize that if I just waited around a bit, there would be more talking. Because
Maybe.
as you can tell, the main objective of this gameplay is to focus in and take pictures of various things. And then you can move on. And I wasn't supposed to take a picture of the fish. What am I supposed to take a picture of? Oh, this bird.
Dad!
Oh,
Good eyes, Dawn.
I want a picture of the bird. Fine.
Before you take the shot, let me get a picture of you.
No. Can you talk to me more?
Dad, I...
Just breathe. Turn off your imagination. Focus on your target.
Okay, I guess it's not time to talk.
Let me get behind you.
Do I have to do this?
Dawn, you don't have to do anything. But if you want to survive, you need to be strong.
What does that mean, shooting a deer?
Now keep yourself squared up, elbows down, like we practiced. Whenever you're ready.
Can't you just take a taekwondo class?
Great shot, Dawn! I'm proud of you, Dawn.
Oh, that's right.
Always remember that, okay? Sorry, Dawn. Just gotta reset the timer.
I'm sorry.
Dad, it's twitching. I think
That's
it's
totally
so-
normal, Dawn. Just focus on the camera. Try not to think about...
Dad! Of all these stories, that's the one I wish most that my mom had told me.
But, like, why wouldn't she tell, like, was Edith ever like, whatever happened to Grandpa Sam? And was Dawn just like, he's dead, Dawn, and we don't talk about it? And just, she did that, oh, hey. And she just did that with everything? I mean, that's a pretty traumatic story. Just even the fact that these photos were kept. I don't know. I would go into talking more about Sam, but we gotta talk more about his kids first. I just want to look at something real quick. Never mind. I was seeing if that You know how there's that cord that was going up into the attic when we were in that weird little area outside of Barbara's room? I was seeing if we could find the cord, because I'm sure it goes up here. Because that's the important thing to focus on right now.
After Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They'd both lost a lot.
Okay, so we know that Sam was a military man. Like, I guess I should have been paying better attention. I don't know if he served as a soldier or if he just took photos or both. I don't know. I wasn't paying super close attention. But I bring that up to say that you can see that there's kind of a military mindset with how Sam raised his kids. A lot of focus on survival and I don't know, just the setup. It's not very cozy. It's more utilitarian, which is fine. They got their lockers. I hope they had more than this, because that's not a lot of room. So, oh, and then we have these like military posters, teamwork, respect, strength. You know, stuff kids like. Anyways, so this next story, all deaths are sad, right? Every single death. So it's not like I've been giving warnings all throughout these videos or anything. I mean, at this point you get the gist. We're gonna watch people die or people talk about death or whatnot. But as you can see, this next story is about a baby that dies. So if you are feeling extra sensitive about that, you can just tap, 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 skip, skip, skip. It's not gruesome. I mean, they do it with a touch of whimsy, if you will. And it's a story that kind of takes us kind of more into the relationship between Sam and Kay, his wife at the time. So, if you would like to, follow along with me as we see a little piece of Gregory. No, I just wanted to read.
Dear Kay, do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it. I think he saw things the rest of us don't.
Gregory, it's time to... Hold on, sweetie. Hello? Sam, I told you I don't want to talk right now.
I wonder what he saw. world was like. You reminded me so much of Calvin. Lost in his imagination. Whatever it was he saw. It sure made him happy.
Sorry, I'm having a really hard time with this frog. Come on. I'm trying. No. Well, this is going to be the whole video.
I know how silly it sounds. But I worried about a baby being too happy. I could feel him slipping away.
Sorry about that, Gregory.
I know you did everything you could. Maybe if I hadn't called that night.
Damn it. Hold on, I don't want Gregory to hear this.
He's a baby.
I wish he could have told us about the world he saw. There's so much I don't understand about Gregory. About everything. But I know what happened wasn't your fault.
It was, though.
I'm sure he's happy. And he'd want you to be happy too. Good luck, Kay. Love, Sam.
Nothing to say, Edith? Really? I have some things to say. So... this story probably makes me the most angry, just because... and I'm not trying to be insensitive. I know lots of people die due to negligence. And I understand, as like strict as Sam is kind of made out to be, just, you know, we hear it in his voice, and then just in the way we see in this letter to Kay, he does have a tenderness, and you can tell that he really loves his family. So it's very nice that he's trying to comfort his ex-wife. I don't know why he decided to write a note on the divorce papers, but whatever. It's very nice. It's nice that he is comforting her because she's already lost a child. It doesn't do any good to throw more negativity at her. But at the same time, I don't know. Just this weird focus about Gregory being in his own world and he wished he understood him. Again, he's a baby. Just let him be a baby. And I guess the other thing that makes me mad, I've been pretty lenient with Edie. I assume Edie is the one who made this memorial, because we have our traditional wooden painted thing here. But you know, we got the bubble bath. Why do we need to put the bubble bath in here? Like, sure, the bath toys, even though that seems a little rough too. The divorce papers obviously are an odd choice. I don't know. This one just... I mean, we can see it's at least kind of the... Kay and Sam weren't able to get past this. So I don't know if Kay just... I don't know if the split was amicable or if Kay just needed to get away. It's hard to say. But, you know, this was a rough time for them. But I don't know. This one just makes me angry. More angry today. I don't know why. So that is Gregory. Don's bed is empty, but we will get to that in a bit. And now we got Gus.
I can't imagine my mom ever writing poetry, and yet...
And yet.
A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard.
So we're outside in that beach area of the
Father made
Finch
them come, of course. While
area.
Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart.
I'm having a real hard time with the mechanics this time.
I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met her, "We don't need a stepmom," were the words that
I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
Oh, there's the totem.
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined and as a sign held up his middle finger.
I'm a punk. I have a middle finger.
The wind picked up and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent. The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made. thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. But all my father said to this was, "Make the music louder." I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea, and foam. But I didn't, until we found you.
She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus.
I'm feeling angry as I play this time. Gosh, I wasn't expecting the anger. Like I'm not seething or anything. So, here, let's sit by these. Let's sit with Gregory. So, we see that, yes, Sam cared about his family, wanted to protect his family, wanted his family to be safe and secure, I guess. But at the same time, you know. So first Gregory died, and Sam and Kay got a divorce. And then next we have, I guess Sam found someone and got remarried, which we never know who she is. And Gus dies at that wedding, because, I don't know, no one's looking at Gus. And I get that, you know, in kind of a cartoonish way, they're like, well, Gus was a little punk. And I get it. When kids are brats, sometimes you just want to say fine, do your own thing. But at the same time, it was storming outside. And I don't know, if my family had a track record of family members being picked off left and right, I would at least be like, where are my kids? If there's a storm, where are the kids? If there's a bath running, where's the kids? Just all the time, where are the kids? But anyways, even so, yes, we have Gregory gone, Gus gone. And then the only child he has left is Dawn. And so Sam wants to toughen her up, make her strong, and take her on this hunting trip, which again, deer aren't the problem. And his negligence in, you know, I mean, you get that he's supposed to be like a skilled hunter. He's not like inexperienced by any means. So I'm sure, I don't know anything about hunting except, you know, the basics. But I would think that checking to make sure that the animal isn't still alive is a thing. Like, why would you leave? I don't know, just the whole, I'm going to position my daughter up here and then take a picture of her even though she's sad. So that's already a misstep. And then, you know, that's how he dies. He dies due to his own negligence. So I don't know, just... And then back to the whole, I just feel like no matter what the relative is, Edith is always like, Mom never said much about him, or never said much about her. And I don't know. Okay, we're moving on. I do wish they had fleshed out Gus's character a little bit more than just rebellious tween. And I mean, even Dawn kind of seemed over him. She didn't think about him until they found his body. That's weird. The wedding didn't seem that great. I feel like this is one of the few times we actually see any kind of sympathy cards, any kind of outsider attention. I could be wrong. And I will say this is one of the most realistic things, where when you're getting a bunch of cards, whether it be for a happy occasion or sad occasion, you are going to get duplicate cards. I wish we could look through the other way. All right. Got a punching bag. Boom. I don't know.
My mom moved up to the loft after her brothers died. At the time, it was as far away as she could get.
Now this is cute and cozy, isn't it? I would have liked something like this.
Religion was another thing my mom never talked about, but I think it helped her a lot after her dad died. She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay.
So yeah, Dawn actually got far away. She went all the way to India. But still she found her way back to the house. Now, we need to go out this way, but for a bit of levity. Oh no, I'm going the wrong way. Here we go. Whee! Alright. Now we can move on. Realize I don't remember when I started playing.
My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Lewis was born a year later.
Okay, we're definitely in the homemade additions to the house. So now the focus is going to be on Dawn and her family, including Edith. So we're kind of in the home stretch.
When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back. And to see kids in the house again.
Okay, so this whole setup's kind of cute. Has a little bit of a... I don't want to say hippie, but they each got their own little gardens. Milton, they gotta do some foreshadowing. We'll talk about that in a bit. Lewis has some nice stuff going on.
The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that.
Notice how we have yet to see another bathroom. Just want to make that clear.
And for a while, things were good. Almost normal. But it didn't last.
So yeah, it seems when Dawn moved back in, I guess the kids didn't go to traditional school. Seems like they did homeschooling here, which this is a nice classroom. Although granted, for someone who seems to never want to talk about the family, I don't know why this was a project. Oh, over here. So yeah, Lewis, that should be Edith, Sanjay, Dawn, and Milton, which... Oh, and Dawn wrote a book. The Finches like to read books, write books, collect books. So I don't know if they have it more clear somewhere else, but Sanjay, he dies in this earthquake, so that's what that's all about. He doesn't get much of a memorial. So that's sad.
The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle.
Which is very cool and creepy.
After Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
I don't remember if there's anything else over here. Okay.
I think Edie was happy to finally have another painter in the family. Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush. was 4 when Milton disappeared.
So the frustrating thing about the Milton story, I don't have an issue with the story itself. Actually, let's go downstairs. Please let me go downstairs. Thank you.
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors. Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
Okay, so let's talk about Milton out here on the balcony. So, the people who made this game made this other game called The Unfinished Swan. And I don't remember which came first. I think The Unfinished Swan came out first, but I could be wrong. Don't hold me to that. And in that game, I never played it. I don't know what the gameplay is like, but I just know there's this king. You don't play the king, you play someone else. And I don't know. It's another one of those sad stories, but interesting and entertaining. And so Milton is supposed to be the king. And so the reason why I understand little winks and nods towards, or Easter eggs, about other projects when you're playing something else, but at the same time, I feel like it doesn't quite fit. Like, kids running away, that's not weird. I mean, that's pretty commonplace. But as the little flip book showed, it showed him painting a door and leaving through that door, which is clearly supernatural. Now, maybe the argument could be made, oh, that's not really what happened in this story. That's just, it's like a metaphor or something. But I don't know. To me, because with this game, with Edith Finch, I feel like, you could guess that there's supernatural elements, but for the most part, it's supposed to be realistic. We're talking about real things. You can debate whether or not there's a curse or if some coincidences seem too much, but it's still pretty realistic. Where when we implant the Milton story, it's not like he just disappears. They have to, allude to this other story, and in that story, he's this other character, which is more of a fantasy. So I guess just to me, it kind of throws the story off. So I don't care for that, although I do like this castle. So there's that. But, I think a lot of the things within that room, there was a boat with black sails or balloons, this whole crown. And, in all those other pictures, there was crowns. And I don't know, it just felt a little heavy-handed. No offense to Milton.
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Lewis blamed himself.
Oh, see, you got the swan right there. Okay.
After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room. Until Mom got him a job at the cannery. Everyone always told me to stay out of Lewis's room. Except Lewis.
Here we go. I like these swings. No. Up. There we go.
Lewis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
The weed lives on. No. I was just looking that way, Edith. I don't want to go outside. We just got in here. Okay.
He was so proud of being Indian. I think for him, it was a way to be something other than just a Finch.
Lewis's room is pretty cool. I mean, did he just say, Great Grandma Edie, get me a boat? She's like, anything for you.
Lewis and I spent a lot of time playing games together, but he was surprisingly bad at them. He died a lot.
Oh, well, they did go to regular school. Maybe Don just taught them in elementary school. Okay, so another warning. Just like I know some people may be sensitive to the death of a baby, with Lewis's death, it has to do with suicide. So if that is something that upsets you, just tap, tap, skip, skip. Because I know that can be extra upsetting for some people. But if you would like to continue, here we go.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery, but he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to wander.
Okay, so the fish I'm doing with my right hand and this little daydream thing I'm doing with my left. So I have to do it
I
at the
asked
same
him to
time.
describe it. He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats. And toads. And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head. But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more. I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend. On the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians. And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination, so he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor. And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him. He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis. Until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Lewis kept sailing on. In Lewisburg, he heard rumors of a beautiful prince. The prince was on his own quest for radiant rainbows. He followed the sound of his silver harp. His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound. He knew the world was all in his imagination. but he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king. For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him. We began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker. He began to despise the man with a royal contempt. I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions. Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on inviting me. His prince waited, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do. Bend down his head. And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
So I will say, in kind of a parallel to Milton, both Lewis and Milton had these grandiose delusions, or however you want to word it, of being royals, of being... And I don't know if it was about just seeking more importance. I mean, yeah, that is part of it, but if it's about the admiration, the control, because you figure there's only so much control we have anyways. And some people feel more in control than others, and some people feel less in control than others. So I'm sure that was part of it too. Because for the most part, Lewis seems humble. You know, he wasn't a jerk. He wasn't just wanting accolades and everything. He just wanted more than what he thought he was, but his mind just wasn't working the right way. It wasn't helping him through that. He wasn't able to cope. This one, it's hard for me to critique too much. I really do hope that the people who made the game took care, because you have to be responsible with suicide stories or depictions of suicide. So, you know, we don't get the exact diagnosis of Lewis. I mean, you can look it up and point to this or that. So I assume this is, you know, a real thing, and I lost my train of thought with Lewis. I'm sorry, Lewis. Oh, yes, I don't want to critique too much of the story, just, not that there's a lot to critique, or I don't want to, like, labor into it too much just because of what happens to Lewis, and I don't know. I just want to be sensitive about it. I mean, doesn't Edith still seem a little detached? I don't know. I get upset about way worse things.
On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left. My mom ended up leaving everything behind. What happened that night had been coming for a long time.
Oh, am I going up the stairs? I didn't mean to. I'm not ready. That was sneaky. I don't even remember how I got in here. Okay. So yeah, this is where Edith and her mom were living. This was their little apartment. This was Dawn's bedroom. We're gonna go up to Edith's little nook.
Maybe it should have come sooner. But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
So it's kind of weird about Edith's room. You know, I know they have to do like decorative and visual callbacks to other things that we've learned about. First of all, this room's really cute and cool. But notice how we have some of the figures. I mean, these are very similar to the figures we saw in Lewis's story, which, how does she know? I don't know if there's too much else. Yeah, we got, I mean, that's Lewis right there. The guards and the boat. So I don't know. And I mean, we see some of the Norwegian folk tales and obviously other books. And then even, which I think is nice, you know, this light is projecting letters. So it is a little bit weird to me. I mean, we know that Edith is the one, you know, writing in this journal and kind of passing on the story similar to Edie. But at the same time, I don't know. I don't necessarily think we don't know much else of her personality. So it's weird that's being like boiled down to letters and a pen. But anyways, we're gonna finally take a break. We've had a long day.
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
Gladly. We don't even get to eavesdrop. They close the doors.
the power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sailed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance, or that Edie had a key to it.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house.
There's a bed in here, but I don't know why.
Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning.
Okay.
So I had looked this up the last time I played. I don't know how to pronounce most of these things. I don't remember if I was able to look this up, but then we have Run, and Acre. I don't know how to say that. I believe that they have to do with death and the afterlife and Norwegian mythology. So I think that's cool.
Dear Edith, There's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around. For a while, I wandered. I started seeing things. Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends.
Like this bed. Just the bed. My friend, the bed. Oh, wait.
That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them.
Yeah.
Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it. Let go!
I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great-Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it, but she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly. She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. but now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you and tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
So yeah, that's what remains of Edith Finch. And what remains is our son, who I believe is Christopher. I believe that's canon, which is kind of funny because that was the name of Molly's goldfish. So that's a lot to take in. There was, we start with a father who's lost so much in this part. And we move on to more children dying and a missing son, a son who kills himself, and then just those final goodbyes. And then we kind of say goodbye to ourselves since we're playing as Edith. So I don't know, it's a lot to take in. I don't know if I'm going to try to say much more. I don't know if I'm going to do another video. I don't know if I'm going to turn this video into 2 videos. We'll see. Because this one was a little longer than the other 2 parts. So, if you're seeing this and it was part 3, that means we kept it as 1. And if it's part 4, that means we split it up. So, I don't know. Anyways, I really do love this game. And I love I don't know, as frustrating as this family is, as most families are, because, you can't control people, and there's so many things they can't control. I don't know. Anyways, they're frustrating as heck, but there's still something endearing and strong, and they represent so much about just the family dynamic and how families grieve. And some families grieve together and some grieve apart. And I feel like that happens, the latter happens the most in this story. And just, there's so much with this about, just talk to your family, talk to your loved ones about how you're feeling, how something affects you, and also be willing to listen if someone wants to tell you how they're feeling. I mean, if this family just talked to each other more, I know I've already said this, but if they just communicated and had some healthy coping mechanisms, I feel like a lot of things would change. I don't personally believe there's a curse, although if I was in this family, I would probably think there was. Sometimes it's hard not to let those things get in your head. But even though I think Edie's at fault for a lot of things, how she treated her kids and other family members, I don't know. I don't know if she was doing her best. Maybe. I don't know. I think I'm gonna be done now. I'm gonna be done talking. Like I said, we might talk more about this game. I'm not sure. But thank you so much for watching. If you did watch, it was nice doing this. Here's the Finch family tree if you want to take another look at it, with those 2-second sketches that Edith was able to do. So, anyways, thank you so much for joining me to learn more about this family and to meet me. And hopefully we'll get to wonder and wander again later.